All right, Lagos, still on gist. Spell Africa is bringing something to the table, okay? So, Spell Africa International presents the Spelling Leaders Competition 2024. Yes, Lagos, it's the 15th edition and it's the national grand finale featuring qualifiers across the states in Nigeria. Okay, so when is this happening? It's going to be going down the 25th to the 27th of July 2024. Okay, venue is Chosen International School, Lekki, Lagos State. And there are beautiful prizes to be won, okay? Prizes to be won for the secondary categories are first prize 500,000 naira, second prize 300,000 naira, third prize 200,000 naira. And we also have the primary category, okay? And they'll also be winning money there as well. First prize is 400,000 naira, second prize is 250,000 naira, third prize is 150,000 naira, all for spelling. Okay, it's a Spell Africa 15th edition and they are bringing it big. All right, it's happening at Chosen International School, Lekki, Lagos State. If you want more information, more details, you can call the numbers 0907 002 7521, 0907 002 7521, or you can call the numbers 080 081 16589. Okay, so I'll take that again: 0813 111 6589, 0813 111 6589. If you want more information about the Spell Africa, it's a Spell Africa 15th edition and you do not want to miss out on it.
Here's what you need to know about Society Talk.
Yep, bullseye. You're listening to 99.3 Nigeria Mode, the side, the sunny side. Welcome, my name's Joyce. Alright, Lagos, Nigeria, 99.3 Nigeria Info, the sunny side. Many times the conversations are not so intended, but yeah, in the air. And it's news, so I guess, yeah, what's my duty? To bring it to you. I want to tell you what's before my eyes right now. I just saw it like 3 minutes ago. Daily Trust is reporting, and according to them, this is how they reported. Breaking: Senate sacks Ndume as chief whip as APC asks him to resign. So it's a developing story. I just stumbled on this like 3 seconds ago. It's a news reported by the Daily Trust. And, okay, so you can tell for sure that you're about to follow through on a development. Again, breaking: Daily Trust, Senate sacks Ndume as chief whip as APC asks him to resign. So, of course, the last few days, I'm not sure if you paid deliberate attention to the fact that Ndume had something to say about Tinubu's administration, particularly using the term caged. He implied that the president, may not be moving as quickly or as freely, and as such, his movement could be presumed to be caged. Responses came, and I saw headlines from the Tribune. One goes, Akpabio under pressure to axe Ndume over comments on Tinubu. PM News, Ndume's position on Tinubu is self-serving blackmail by a group. And then, of course, the Last Minute, which reported that the Senate, this is according to the Daily Trust. All right, so unfortunately, this is not our immediate conversation, so I'm guessing that as the story develops, as long as your ears are to the ground and on this dial, you're going to hear gist. All right, my name's Joyce. Now, welcome. Welcome to what appears to be an obvious fact to you, but I think it's also necessary to bring it forth as a conversation and hear what you have to say about it. And maybe this is probably going to be that kind of a radio show where you've said something about this before in the past. But here I think we are collecting aspects of the Nigerian societal makeup and looking at them through the lens of ethics, corruption, and whether we're getting bad or getting good at this. So imagine, and I think you may have heard, that Nigerians paid 721 billion naira cash as bribe to public officials in 2023. This is according to the NBS, National Bureau of Statistics. Wow. So let me run through. Let me run through aspects of our society that have been fingered in this particular allegation. The first on the listing: judges, magistrates, customs or immigration services or service, members of the armed forces, land registry officers, police officers, local government area representatives, tax revenue officers, other public officials, vehicle inspection officers, teachers, lecturers, Federal Road Safety Corps, doctors, nurses or midwives, public utility officers, and other health workers. I must tell you, I was particularly surprised when doctors, nurses were actually fingered, and I thought, oh, wait, this runs deep. This is DNA deep at this point. Maybe it's even deeper than that. Maybe it's the soul of the nation deep. When we say we are fighting corruption, I think we don't mean what we say. I think because it doesn't appear that there is any change in pattern. So I'm going to read what the news reports. Of course, you know, It's stated to be 721 billion naira in cash as bribes to public officials in 2023. Now, the survey, Corruption in Nigeria, Patterns and Trends, released a few days ago, was conducted by the NBS in collaboration with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime and supported by the MacArthur Foundation and the Kingdom of Denmark. According to the survey, the average cash bribe paid was 8,284 naira, while the nominal average cash prize while the nominal average cash bribe size was increased from 2019 to, of course, present. So back in 2019, it was about 5,754 naira. 2019 and 2023, we were paying 8,284 on average. The report said that this does not include inflation. Well, okay. So you look at this and, well, first, I think I'm grateful that such a report is being published. But I'm more concerned as to what exactly is happening. Because here is something. If it doesn't change, if there is no improvement, if it's not better, and better would imply a diminishing of bribes in the system, just so that things are done more fairly and people are not exploited by their own systems, and anybody who has work to do would do their work not just diligently, but without corruption. If that's not what we're getting, then what exactly do we have and where are we going? And I think that sometimes there is a supposition that this is exactly how things are done in Nigeria. You wouldn't be surprised when you hear, which of course was reported, that the Binance executive, who was of course in the custody of the Nigerian government, at some point we heard, according to him, according to his own quarters, that the Nigerian government was asking for, well, some officials were asking for a bribe. And it was where it was said. It's not something that was said somewhere in the corridors on the streets of Abuja. It was said internationally. In fact, that's exactly from whence the news came. And I thought, yeah, once again, this painting Nigeria, with a kind of color, assuming that, look, I don't know what the situation was. It could have just been a few persons who, of course, had access to the guy and thought they could even play a smart one on the government, get something and tell the world a story, suffer a little punishment here and there, and be done with it. It may not necessarily have been the government. But the report actually said, that the Nigerian government officials were asking for kickback. And I'm like, when you don't name names, when you don't punish people, every Nigerian at this point really has to just bear the consequence of a report as that. All right. In fact, this is how it was put. The Nigerian government officials were accused of soliciting bribes to the tune of $150 million from global cryptocurrency giant Binance. Here is also something. Now, remember, this report is not just from the Tinubu administration. It's 2023, so that would be a survey from the tail end of the previous administration into this administration. Last April, the U.S. government expressed concerns that the Tinubu government is continuing the massive corruption trend of its predecessors, giving his ministerial appointment of one gentleman, Abubakar Bagudu. So this gentleman, Abubakar Bagudu, is said to be a corrupt, tainted associate of former dictator Sani Abacha. I want to even quickly come to something I stumbled on in the news a few days ago. Mrs. Ali Macaulay. Mrs. Ali Macaulay was, during the COVID pandemic period, it was reported that she hoarded COVID-19 palliatives. In fact, it wasn't even known until her birthday. So I guess on her birthday, pictures there flying around. Some of the items in her birthday package to her guests included some COVID-19 palliatives. That was how the world got to know that, yes, indeed, it is not a conspiracy to conclude that the palliatives for Hungary Nigerians. Some were stored to rot in warehouses, some others confiscated by government officials. And I think she wasn't, the worst culprit or the only culprit, but she was fingered. In fact, with proof. And I'm not sure that you know that not much developed from that, except that in the news it was said she needed to be withdrawn from whatever public office she was holding. Now, here is what's been reported, and I want to go to the dates exactly. This is July 14th. It said that President Bola Tinubu has appointed former Lagos lawmaker Mojisola Oluwa Kehinde Ali-Macaulay as the Executive Director Operations of Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund. Mrs. Ali-Macaulay was represented Amuwo Dofin 1 in Lagos at the time, was exposed for diverting COVID-19 palliatives meant to alleviate the suffering of poor masses during the COVID-19 lockdown and rebranding the palliatives as her birthday souvenir in 2020. Of course, a petition flew around. Constituents called for her recall on grounds of poor constituency representation and theft of palliatives meant for masses during the pandemic. I think that the COVID-19 pandemic revealed a bottomlessness in character of some government officials. In all of that lockdown, with the goodwill contributions from some Nigerian governments and maybe even for foreign donations that came into the country to help the Nigerian public, the Nigerian public didn't benefit as they should. One wonders, what exactly is the mindset, is the behavioral pattern? Like, why does it appear that many things that happen within the Nigerian society gets overlooked, totally ignored? Okay, but here is what I even think you should know. After the COVID pandemic, 4 years later, Mrs. Ali-Macaulay, who hails from the same state as the president, is being rewarded with an appointment as chief executive of a federal government agency. A troubling pattern of rewarding controversial individuals with public positions. Yeah, so I think today we need to talk about bribery in Nigeria and the pattern that appears to suggest that as the years come by, you're paying more in bribes. And there's something about this pattern that suggests that no matter how much we pray and no matter how much we pay lip service to tackling corruption in society, we can pose as pious men and women. We can clothe ourselves with regalia to suggest ethics, morality, title, office. We can claim to be elders or statesmen. We can crown ourselves with crowns that has nothing to do with our conscience, that has nothing to do with our values, that has nothing to do with our principles. We can mask ourselves with honor and passing glories of the praises of men. But indeed, we're nothing we're not as good as our prayers. We're not as good as our hopes. We're not as good as what we pose to be. And what that also suggests in the same breath is, it's not that one generation is corrupt, is that you are also in the same vein by conscious and deliberate effort raising a corrupt generation. Now that's an opinion. I'd like to hear your opinion. Let's talk on Nigeria Info about bribery in Nigeria, the culture of bribing. Some Nigerians would say it's necessary that you bribe because it just helps you get through. Others suggest you shouldn't bribe. You should go through and the service or the body owes you service that you are paying for. And anything more than that should be reported to authority and something done about it. I remember when I was trying to get my passport, I was trying to get my documents for renewing my Nigerian passport. I'm going to tell you a story, what happened when I went to the Population Commission. It's sad, but yeah, it happened to me. We're off on a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the culture, the actual deliberate. It's as though it's implemented. The implementation, non-verbal implementation, that is, of bribery in this country that appears to be doing as good as our collective suffering. We're off on a break. We'll be right back.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
The I Beg to Differ debate tournament, the Nationals, is coming. August 12th in Lagos. Witness the brightest minds from across the country in a battle of intellect and eloquence.
Have you ever wondered if controlling resources will be the key to dismantling?
Yes, a child has not been properly academically satisfied.
Well, has such person not also get experience, like your fifth point?
Experience fierce competition.
Peace cannot be kept by force. It's not because there's natural resources there.
Persuasive arguments.
I believe that through a balanced approach to religion and education.
Don't you think that such a person is old enough to decide?
And innovative thinking.
By 1985, the poverty level was below 46%.
If they don't have money for tuition, are you saying they are not going to be accountable?
Whether you're a debater or a spectator, mark your calendars for August 12, 2024. I Beg to Differ, the Nationals in Lagos, Nigeria. Get ready to be part of history. For sponsorship and other inquiries, call Lagos Griffin 0706 827 1163, Shola Kolade 0907 173 3835, or send an email to info@nigeriainfo.fm. I Beg to Differ Students Debates Competition, the Tournament of Champions.
Ladies and gentlemen,
boys and girls, introducing the first of its kind in Nigeria.
the first radio just for kids. It's here at 101.7 Kids FM.
Are you serious?
Oh, yes.
It's going to be fun for kids on your airwaves 24/7.
Talking about from exciting games
Check.
to juicy gist
Double check.
and great music.
Super check.
All these and more on your number one PlayStation 101.7 Kids FM.
Don't be the last to join the train. Download the Kids FM app on your iOS or Play Store today and stay tuned on the go.
You can stream on our website at kidsfm.ng.
You can also follow us on all socials at kidsfm.ng and stand a chance to be one of the super kids.
On 101.7 Kids FM. Remember, it's no dull moments on Kids FM.
So tune in and stay locked on 101.7 Kids FM.
Let's play.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info. This is worthy of
0201-2770-993, 0201-465-7190. The latter number is for the ladies, and our WhatsApp number is 080-9597-5805. Corruption pattern, a popular Nigerian attribute, culture at this point. Let's talk. Welcome to the show. It's so good to have you on Nigeria Info this afternoon. You're on the sunny side. How are you?
Hi, Joyce.
Thank you very much for calling. What's your name?
This is Remy.
Good. Good to have you.
Corruption is a global phenomenon. But the reason why it is what it is in Nigeria is because we have a system that has been skewed to allow it to thrive. It's not as if people don't bribe in other countries. But here we have a system created by our leaders that allows it to thrive. How do you explain to anyone that Billion Van was seen in someone's house a few days to election? And all he could explain was, were you told I stole anybody's money? And the system did nothing about it. If that person was an ordinary person, do you think the system would have allowed that person to go away with that? And you saw people putting up defense for that as well. You have a system whereby someone who cannot explain the school he attended, and according to reports, the school he claimed to have attended was established 4 years after he graduated. And nothing is being done about that. And you think corruption won't be a culture?
Yeah, so you can't quite say that it is happening everywhere else. It's not that it's happening everywhere else. It's that everywhere else something is being done about it.
That was my point.
So it doesn't compare. No, I think you're trying to compare. It doesn't quite compare.
No, I'm saying the reason why it is paramount, the reason why it is thriving is because we have a system that permits it to allow.
Exactly. So it doesn't compare because at least it does quite appear, at least in other places, they fight it. They attempt to fight it. They do something so it doesn't thrive. So it doesn't quite compare. It's seeming as though the Nigerian one is almost like it's a giving.
Maybe I don't think you got what I said.
No, I did. You don't have to simplify it any further. I thoroughly understand it.
I think a year or two ago, a policeman was caught in America, moving people from Mexico to America with a police as he was wearing uniform. I guess he must have been doing this for long. But when he was caught, he was apprehended.
That's why it doesn't compare. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm saying the reason why you are asking why do you have the culture here, right?
Thank you. I get it. Thank you so much.
That is the question, right?
Thank you very much.
I'm telling you why the culture is in existence, why it is happening.
And that's clear.
The reason why it is happening is because we have a system that allows it to thrive.
Thank you very much for calling. It's 1 p.m. Lagos. We're off on a break to bring to you the news update.
.3 Nigeria Info. You are listening to the news updates this hour. The time is 1 o'clock. The United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund is urging Nigerians to adopt e-birth registration for their children. Chief of UNICEF Lagos Field Office Celine Lafoucriere said the e-birth would give the parents a quick and sustainable legal identity. Lafoucriere said e-birth registration was innovative and important not only to the children but also for the country, to the country as well, stressing that it helps to establish a child's proof of legal identity. The UNICEF field chief, who noted that birth registration was a fundamental right, said a child remained invisible to policymakers without the registration. Meanwhile, the cholera outbreak in Nigeria has continued to claim more lives. So far, the outbreak has killed 103 people. Over 3,000 deaths. Suspected cases have also been recorded. The Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Jide Idris, disclosed the figures to newsmen on Tuesday in Abuja. Idris added that the outbreak has now been recorded across 187 local government areas in 34 states and the Federal Capital Territory. And according to the NCDC boss, the top 6 states contributing about 83% of infections are Lagos, Bayelsa, Abia, Ebonyi, Katsina, and Zamfara. He advised Nigerians to practice proper hygiene and be cautious of epidemiological diseases on the rise during the rainy season. Mercy Corps, through its Girls Improving Resilience through Livelihood and Health, plans to empower young girls and boys with professional skills to be employable. The program took place in Lagos and plans to facilitate networking and relationship building, as well as create a supportive community for young professionals in Nigeria. The program manager, Girl Age Program, Rosetta Ofyongeta, said the event was a testament to Mercy Corps' commitment to empowering young individuals, promoting gender inclusivity, and fostering a supportive environment for all in the country. The job fair attracted a diverse group of participants, including students, recent graduates, and aspiring professionals. And on the foreign scene, police say a 56-year-old woman is suspected to have poisoned 5 other Vietnamese tourists with cyanide served in cups before drinking the poison herself in a luxury hotel in Bangkok. The bodies of 3 men and 3 women had been discovered on Tuesday evening by staff in a suites of the Grand Hyatt Erawan Hotel in Bangkok's city centre. The first inspection of the scene revealed no traces of violence, and robbery was quickly ruled out. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, the police said in a press conference they believed one of the 6 tourists, 2 of whom also held U.S. passports, was behind the deaths. Meanwhile, the relatives of the dead confirmed that there had been a dispute over money. The police discovered residue of a substance in cups found at the crime scene. That's the news update. It is back to the sunny side with Joyce on 99.3 Nigeria Info. I am Yvonne Ohaifo. Stay here.
Quality talk.
Intelligent conversations.
Always interesting.
So engaging.
Sometimes even mind-boggling.
Nigeria Info. Ask everyone. Anyone. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Hey, welcome. Let's talk about corruption. Let's talk about this thing that appears to be now identified alongside Nigerians. It's as though when you say Nigerians and you talk about... Did I tell you that I was... Where? I think I was in Canada. I met some American women. And they were talking about then Okonjo-Iweala. And they were more interested about the corruption in the Nigerian government and the fact that they know her to be a clean person, but now that she's within the Nigerian government, that they were suspicious. Well, that they had now become quite suspicious of her because of the perception within the Nigerian government system that is known to be corrupt. And they asked me a direct question about her corruption. I thought, wow. Wow. Let's talk. This thing where now there's even data that suggests, well, this is exactly what's happening. And I even would like to think that this is understated in some way. Understated. If this is accurate, then it's understated. At least I'd like to believe that, because there's some handovers that you don't really get to hear about. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Welcome to the sunny side. My name's Joyce. We're talking corruption and fighting it, how we can fight it, how this can be fought. Or is this something or a situation where we all resign our fate? Hello. The volume of your radio set.
Hey, Joyce.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for calling.
Yeah, my name is Amos.
Welcome, Amos.
Yeah, for me, I think this our democracy we operate in Nigeria is what has made the corruption to be at the level it is today. Okay? Because with this democracy that we operate, it has to be the money bags that select who governs us. Right? And when you say money bags, it doesn't matter how they make the money, as long as you have the money. So they are the ones that sit down at the table and select who governs us. And definitely it's going to be one of them, right? That will be our president, our governors, and all that. And so that's why the corruption is at this level. And again, when they now assume that position, what they do is this. Now, you create 7,000 jobs as a governor, and you are giving them 70,000, 50,000 per month, right? And you know that this money you are giving them is not enough for their transportation. So these people will now have to find a means, right, to survive, which is another corruption, right? The government is aware that these people are probably collecting bribes and all that, but who are they to challenge them? Because they themselves are corrupt.
Yeah, but what about the Nigerian people? Because if you make a case against the Nigerian elite or the politicians, what about the Nigerian people?
Yeah, the Nigerian people have no choice. That's what I just said.
Isn't that defeatist? What do you mean we have no choice?
Okay, let me explain that to you. A last man official that is earning 70,000 naira, right? How can he survive with it? In that situation, you either beg, you borrow, you steal. You have to do something. If you are sick in the hospital, right? You go to loot, they tell you there's no bed space, right? Because the doctors are reserving the bed space for the elite. So unless you're able to part away with something, maybe 100,000 naira, in that kind of hospital, for example, and you are earning 70,000 a month, how do you survive? So you have to join them. You have to join the corruption, right? So for me, and that's why when I look at this, our democracy, and analyze it, I always pray for something to happen for us to have another form of government. Because Joyce, let me tell you, Nigeria has never been like this. There was a time in this country where you will be selling stuff, you put it on the table and you go away, and people will buy your, you purchase your stuff, they put your money there. Do you understand? So Nigeria has not always been like this. It became a war since 1999 when we have this democracy. Okay? Because how can you have the senator collecting millions and you have majority collecting peanuts?
All right.
And we are living in the same society, going to the same market. So we need to have a system whereby the president or whoever is at the end of affairs will be able to question and audit the account of government and say, the money that have been given in Abuja, what have you done with it?
Okay.
Do you understand? So we now have an House of Assembly that can also question the president the way they do in the UK, for example, where the president will have to come and explain himself. The money that was given to you, how have you spent it? We can't just have the form of government whereby governors will collect billions from Abuja and buy wristwatch of about 400 million. Nobody questions them.
Thank you very much for calling. I appreciate. 99.3 Nigeria Info. It does quite appear now that Nigerians may suggest that this has become normalized because even Nigerians themselves cannot do anything to resist this culture of corruption. I don't know whether you agree that that's accurate. Let's talk. How are you?
Hello, Joyce.
Thank you very much for calling. Good afternoon to you. You're Nigeria Info.
Lucky is calling from Ikorodu.
Thank you very much.
According to the NBA, they mentioned some sectors. He didn't mention the banking sector, the telecommunication sector too. See, what is still trending now? If you use Glow SIM card, after you have, hello?
I'm listening to you.
Yeah, after you have finished doing your registration, as you have asked us to do the other time with your NIN, what is trending now that they will just block your line? According to what happened to my husband, they just blocked his line since last week. He cannot call, he cannot receive. Then he now went to their office at Code. They couldn't rectify it because of the crowd that were there. He went as early as possible yesterday to Keja. So they couldn't tell us the exact thing, what is wrong with the system. They said, what happened? So they had to collect 115 from as many as possible that were there. My husband took number 50-something.
They took 15 for what?
They started us 115. We cannot even say precisely what is the problem is. We don't even know where to go to say our problem. They will just be exploiting us with money.
Wait,
you know even what
a telecommunications company agent.
Yes, Glow. You know what they do? Every morning, every day, before you can call, they have to collect. They have to remove 10 naira from your account. Where do we go to explain all this? We don't have any.
Yeah, but so what is the reasons? Usually, when they take the money, they tell you why they're taking it away. If it's for SMS,
they said it's to cover up for all the calls that you're going to do during the day. They will still charge you for your calling. They are still going to charge you for your calling.